What's up, guys? My name is Jerry, and today's video is going to be on the New Orleans Pelicans, and we're going to be talking about 5 different trades that they should be pursuing at the NBA trade deadline, and we're going to jump right into the video. Now, looking at the New Orleans Pelicans this season, and looking at them approaching the NBA trade deadline, they're right in between being buyers and sellers. On one hand, they're, not too far out of the NBA play-in tournament, and they could possibly make the playoffs without their best player. And then on the other hand, with Zion fully healthy, this team is probably still a couple of pieces away, from being championship contenders. So, in this video, man, we're just gonna be looking at 5 different players, 5 different trades that can make this New Orleans Pelicans team, better, this season. And these first 2 guys, they fall into the same category, and that would be a stretch big off the bench. And the first guy is Mike Muscala. And Mike Muscala, he's balling this season, having a very underrated, quiet season. He's a big that can shoot, 44% from the three. He's shooting right before 44% from three, which is really good. And we know that'll really tie together with, Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson playing style. And, getting Mike Muscala, he would definitely, come off the bench and be a weapon off the bench. He's just a solid, veteran player who's good in the pick and roll and could provide, great value to this, this New Orleans Pelicans team. Because, other than their inconsistent guard play this year, I would say their bench is their second biggest their second biggest flaw this season. I think it's guard play, and I think it's their lack of depth. So putting a guy like Mike Muscala on the bench, veteran guy having a pretty solid season, and he can stretch the floor and roll to the rim, that would be a great addition to this New Orleans Pelicans team. So and also he would be a pretty cheap player. They can probably get him, they wouldn't have to give up much to get him. They can probably give up a 2nd-round pick to acquire him. And, he has a team-friendly contract. So, that'll be good for them. And then the second guy, also a stretch big. Also, I would like to see him come off the bench for the Pelicans, Kelly Olynyk. And Kelly Olynyk, before he went down, I'm a Pistons fan, so I've been watching him. Before he went down with that injury and then COVID, Kelly Olynyk was playing pretty solid minutes. And, he's a little bit better than Mike Muscala, and I think he offers a little bit more to the table. He isn't, he's not the best defender, but he plays with heart. He plays hard, and, he's not going to let anybody get anything easy on him. And then his offensive game is very, very solid. He will be great. He's like a great big to have off the bench. He can shoot the 3 ball. He's crafty, tricky. You don't really know what to expect from him. And also, more importantly, his game would mesh with Brandon Ingram's and Zion Williamson. So, that would be really, really, really helpful for the New Orleans Pelicans if they can get a guy like Kelly Olynyk. And they'll probably have to give up a little bit more to acquire somebody like him, because to me, Kelly Olynyk is a very, valuable person, a very valuable player in this league. And, I don't think he's going to come by with just a 2nd-round draft pick. But, so that's something that we will have to look into, what the Pelicans will have to give up to get a guy like him. But I feel like he's a guy that will come in and make this team better, instantly. So we got, 2 stretch bigs. We got Kelly Olynyk, Mike Muscala. And I think another thing that this young team could use is veteran scoring. And I think a guy that they could possibly acquire, it would be tricky, given that these 2 teams, the Portland Trail Blazers and the New Orleans Pelicans, they're both in competition for that that final play-in spot as of right now, the way the standings look. So we don't know if the Portland Trail Blazers want to do a deal with their competition. And plus also, the Portland Trail Blazers have been playing a little bit well recently, but also there's a chance that they might blow everything up at the trade deadline. And I think if they do so, I think the New Orleans Pelicans should look into getting Norman Powell. Norman Powell is a very solid player this season. He's having a really underrated solid season for the Portland Trail Blazers. He's averaging 18 points on shooting 40% from 3. And, he doesn't really need the ball much. He can play off the ball. He can create, for himself sometimes. But he's just a really solid scorer in the NBA. And I would like to see him come off the bench as well. I think he adds a lot of scoring to this team. And then he also adds a lot of he adds scoring off the bench. He adds depth to this team. And this team desperately needs, they need some help off their bench. So, so Norman Powell, and I'm pretty sure his game will fit with with Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingrams, because like I said, he don't really need the ball that much to get his buckets. And he's not the best defender in the league, but he's not the worst. He's a pretty average defender. Works hard on the defensive end. Solid defensive player. He's not going to let you, it's not a free bucket on him. So, that's Norman Powell. I think he would be great for this New Orleans Pelicans team, especially if they can, bring him off the bench. And he comes in and give them 18 points per game, or even somewhere from 15 to 18. That'd be really good for the Pels. And then, so, these last two would definitely be, more expensive, and probably would be the two hardest players for the Pelicans to acquire. And I have, two two-way forwards that the Pelicans should pursue. And the first one is Harrison Barnes. And Harrison Barnes, just like the other players on this list, is another guy who's having he's having another underrated solid season out there in Sacramento, and they're losing, and I expect the Sacramento Kings to make a lot of moves at the trade deadline, and I expect Harrison Barnes to be one of the players to get moved. Now, getting Harrison Barnes, you get a veteran, you get a guy that can play defense, you get a guy that can shoot. I don't think I've seen Harrison Barnes miss a corner three yet this season. That's how lights out he's been this year. Probably having the best year of his career, if I'm gonna be honest. That's how good he's been playing. But he just adds so many different elements to this New Orleans Pelicans team. He adds defense, he adds championship presence, for a young team. He adds scoring, and he's just a very versatile player, versatile on the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. He can cut to the rim. He can run off screens and get spot up threes. And it would definitely be a lot harder for the Pelicans to get a guy like Harrison Barnes, and then also they will have to worry about next off season, whether or not, because this guy, Harrison Barnes is probably going to be looking for an extension, and we don't know if the Pelicans, if that's a guy that they want to that they want to make a cornerstone of their franchise, who they think can get them over that hump. But me personally, I don't think Harrison Barnes is that dude that's going to turn the New Orleans Pelicans to a championship squad. But what they can do, they can keep him this year, let him help them make that playoff push, and then they can trade him at the next. They can trade him at the next NBA deadline and flip what they lost for, trading for him. So, that's a possible idea. And, you just gotta be creative. You gotta keep an open mind. And, this last trade, probably Jerami Grant is probably going to be one of the most hottest commodities at this trade deadline. A lot of teams want him. And I feel like just with Harrison Barnes, he's another, two-way forward that will just bring a bunch of different elements to this New Orleans Pelicans team. And with Herb Jones, with Herb Jones being so versatile, I feel like he makes these trades easier, because Herb, he can do a whole bunch of different things. But back to to Jerami Grant, like I say, adds so many different components. Now, to me, he's a lot better than Harrison Barnes right now at this point in their careers. I feel like he's more versatile on the defensive side of the ball. I feel like he can guard 3 through 5. You can switch him onto a big if you have to sometimes. But then his offensive game, he can hit, catch, and shoot threes, or he can take the ball and create for himself. And the same thing kind of applies with Harrison Barnes. Don't know if Jerami Grant is that dude that you want to bring in with Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson and think that's going to take you, put you over that edge into a championship team. But definitely, I think Jerami Grant can come in and help the way this roster is presently constructed, help them win some games. Because to me, winning is the best development for younger players. You got to learn how to win, and once you start winning, I feel like you feel a little bit more motivated. But Jerami Grant, great defender, great shooter, great off the dribble, can finish at the rim with both hands, very athletic. I would love to see him alongside potentially Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram. I think that would be some pretty fun basketball to watch. And honorable mentions, man. I think the biggest thing the New Orleans Pelicans need is a point guard. I feel like Devontae Graham has been underperforming all season long. I thought he was going to be a lot better than what he's playing like, but I just couldn't find a point guard that would suit this Pelicans team for this video. But, you know, honorable mention, the New Orleans Pelicans definitely need some help at some guard, at the guard spot. I think that position has been really inconsistent all season long. And, you know, that's their, like I said, lack of depth and guard play. I think that is this team's, you know, two biggest flaws. But, you know, that's going to be it for this video, man. 5 trades. You know, this was just an idea, man. This is just opinion. You know, I don't know if these trades are going to 100% happen, but I just feel like, you know, these guys can make, you know, the Pelicans better. So, you know, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below your favorite, you know, your favorite trade scenario, and then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, man. And that's curtains.